Happy to be here. My name is Ilya Marotta. I am the Deputy Administrator for the Panama Canal. This is my second Global Maritime Forum. Super exciting. It's so interesting to share with different industry players about what's coming, what's important. It was great to have the Secretary General from the IMO participating with us so we could present a lot of questions. It's a fabulous networking get-together where you get to know the latest on the different key players on maritime decarbonization, on seafarer wellness. So I think it's the beauty about the Global Maritime Forum is that it's all parts of industry, financing, ship owners, cargo owners, fuel producers. So it's always good to see the change because I went 2 years ago to New York. Last year I skipped it, so this year I'm here, and you can see the progress. The progress in the subjects, the maturity that is coming from the decarbonization. So it's been a great pleasure to be here.
And Chikako, it's the first time you are here, am I correct?
Yes, I am.
So what was your experience?
My experience, introduction?
Yes.
I'm Chikako Matsumoto. I am a Managing Executive Officer of the Sumitomo Mitsui Trust Group and the Chief Sustainability Officer at the group level. I also serve as a Managing Executive Officer of Sumitomo Mitsui Trust Bank. And the experience was really interesting. At the beginning, this is my first time, so at the beginning, I was a little bit confused. I heard a lot about this is a very unique forum and experiences, but then I didn't know what to expect. The forum really revealed itself in that second day, meaning yesterday, especially with the breakout sessions and so on, where you have a very deep engagement at the different level and then on the different issues. So lots of learning, deep learning experiences in just 2.5 days.
And Hing, will you introduce yourself to the audience and just reveal your first top-level experience?
I'm Hing Chao, Executive Chairman of Wagong Maritime Transport Holdings. This is my second Global Maritime Forum. Like previous speakers, I've seen how the conversation has evolved. I've been really impressed by the development of some of the alliances. For example, a year ago, when we had the conversation with peers on human sustainability, a lot of us were just brainstorming about what we could do. And fast forward 12 months to today, you have your second published report, and you have, I think, 12 vessels now, already enrolled in the program, and people are now sharing best practices in inclusion of DEI, particularly principles and ways of doing things of how to include female seafarers, which are, for me, very inspiring. So one of my key takeaways this time is that, these alliances are really real.
Yes.
And I'm very motivated to join because it's a whole community, not only of leaders, but indeed people who have great vision to creating a more sustainable humanity, not only for shipping. And I'm very humbled to be part of this community. It's only my second year, but I already look forward to Global Maritime Forum as an annual rite of passage where you take yourself away from your daily routine. There's a place you go to, and in this cloister of common values with peers and friends in the industry, you discuss things which you don't necessarily talk about every day, but which are uppermost, because these are the things that will drive the industry forward and will lead the path forward also for each of us.
So you've had a lot of conversations with peers, you've been in your working groups. What are you going to take with you to your day job next week, going forward in the coming months? Want to start?
Yes, we are bank and also asset management businesses. So our mission is provide the funding to decarbonize the industry, but also at the same time help support the industry to really advance certain issues, as you said, kind of human side, the societal side and so on. And what I can really bring home is that this really great network, I know how many people I met in the last 2.5 days, very many. But also, really, I felt that, I got much, deeper connection with each of them. And then, learn, what they are really doing, in which area they are really working on. So I know who to speak to when I want to know more about the new engines for the new fuels, and then where the fuels are really going, or what are the diversity issues, going, or which direction. And then also I met with, financial people, like insurance and banking, and then so on. So how they are really approaching to this maritime industry, so we can probably work together to help the industry move forward.
Ilya,
what about you? What will you take with you back to Panama?
Well, we are working on a green corridor with the Maersk McKinney Moller Center for Decarbonization.
Yeah.
So it was great to actually talk to some of the people that are participating with us in the green corridor.
Right.
So it's an opportunity not to just to do the online. The personal touch is different. It's a way to move forward and advance what we're doing. It was a great opportunity to touch bases with other companies that we're working with, like Blue Bisbee, also with Nord Solutions. So it's great to be in touch with the people you actually work with long distance, and kind of bring things back to practical solutions on how we go forward. Also running to people from Anglo American that we also have been working with on how to do watershed management. So it's a really good opportunity to meet in person with people that you are in touch by email or by virtual meetings. It's very productive. So when you go back home, some of the things that maybe were in the pipeline not totally resolved, you take advantage of resolving them here. So it's fantastic.
And did you make any new friends this year?
Lots of new friends. I met people from Namibia and see how they want to do investment in their area for the green fuels. I met with Lola from London, which is government also. And a lot of the people that says, when you come to London, just give me a call and then let's catch up. So it's a great opportunity to meet with a lot of people and re-meet people that I have met maybe in another context somewhere else. And it's like, oh, remember when we were in CMA together? So yes, good to see old people that you know, and it's great to meet new people and new connections. Now I know I have a friend in Finland, also from the government. So it's very good because networking is so key for our industry. That is very important. And something that I love about the meetings is not just, okay, I do shipping and that's all I do. Now, because of the green corridors, the decarbonization, there's a lot of key players that are critical and key to the solutions.
And Hing, last year it was in Athens, and now we've moved to Asia. Do you experience a difference coming here now in Asia, and did it move in the right direction?
Well, I think certainly the format of the GMF this year is slightly different from last year, partly as a reflection of different culture. And I think the adaptation effort made on the part of GMF, I think is certainly appreciated by a lot of my friends in Japan and other places in Asia. The participation, I think, from Asia compared to previous years is obviously a lot higher. And I think this is definitely the right step in the right direction. When I was in Athens last year, I think a lot of people recall that I said Global Maritime Forum is a fantastic, and in my view, one of the best, if not the best, global platform. But to really be servicing the global needs, advancing this positive conversation forward about sustainability across so many different elements, we need people from around the world to participate. And Asia, as we know, going forward is will continue to be one of the most important population and hence economic drivers in the world. And coming to Japan with so many of our friends in Japan being here, I think is fantastic. And of course, this year we'll also have friends from Africa. And I think in the closing session, there was a little bit of a conversation, I believe invitation accepted, of having more peers from African countries as well. So we I very much look forward to a widening conversation that really reflects the value of inclusivity of Global Maritime Forum. And as an advisor to the GMF, I will try to do my best to continue to engage my friends from the maritime supply chain, particularly in China.
And in the report out that we just finished, there was a sense that the Global Maritime Forum has moved from being very high-level discussions to concrete work streams. Were there any work streams that you felt was like particularly interesting to you?
There's so many conversations happening all at once, so it's important to tap into each and every one of them. But I think an overall feeling I have is that people have really matured in their thinking. Even a year ago, using human sustainability, as I did a moment ago as an example, people were thinking at high level what to do. Now a lot of action have actually been done. And it's about the next step and the step after that. And in this particular forum, I also see some of the seeds which were planted maybe in the last forum, such as the ocean, and the depth of the conversation again has advanced to a second level. So with each iteration of the annual summit, I think there's a deepening in terms of thinking and in terms of the collective, and widening of the collective action.
Chikako, you're coming from a finance perspective. Any of the topics you felt were particularly interesting to you, where the outcome looked really interesting?
I have to say, I wouldn't say like really anything really particular, but then I am sure that like in the scope of the knowledge, my knowledge about the decarbonization, societal issues of the maritime industry has definitely like kind of much larger, meaning that I'm a banker, so we look at many different industries. So each industry, like I've been looking at with a team, at certain things. For the maritime industry, we've been looking at new fuels a lot. We also heard about the recycling of the ships, but then this is the first time for me to learn about the green corridor. That was a really new thing that we also learned a lot more, and then the especially like a kind of innovative around the things like new engines for the new fuels, and then the fuel efficiencies and so on. That's also very important things. Biodiversity of the ocean, it's really coming. It's probably like much deeper issues also which we don't know yet. But this is something like we need to work on together with in relation to climate change, decarbonization, and also the solution, as Maria pointed out. So lots of things like I learned this time that really new to me and interesting. So really grateful.
Thank you. Ilya, there weren't that many from Latin America that I could tell, at least. What else would you say is missing from this year's forum? Well, what could be better?
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. Latin America. I don't see many Latin American countries. I did see USA, of course. I mean, they're a key player in the industry. So it would be nice to have more Latin American participation. And I think an area where we can contribute as Latin America is in the All Alliance group, because this morning, to me, it was fantastic, the breakfast. I had no idea of the pilot project they were doing to have at least 4 women seafarers per ship. And we have a very good group of women in Panama, which is WISTA, Women in Shipping and Transportation, yep. Very active. We have 6 female pilots in the Panama Canal, and they could be role models. We talk in the breakfast about having role models in the industry. We have a lot of Panamanian captains and first mates and second mates in the cruise industry working. And I know this because when they come through the Panama Canal, I go on board and I say, I'll transit a lot with you, just to hang out and exchange. So I think that's an area where we probably have a way to contribute more. Not necessarily only Panama, because I was learning in this panel that there's a lot of people from Venezuela, women that are going into seafarers. I met this, I can't remember her name, but she's from Germany. and they have a startup that they want to connect seafarers with companies. So that is a great contact I'm taking back to my country. And I'm going to join her with the Panamanian Maritime University. So they have a union. So that's why networking is so good, because it opens new opportunities.
Can I add a little
Of
bit?
course.
Because I would like to see more women, definitely.
Yes.
I heard that this year, women represent about 17%. It was a bit smaller than the last year, I heard, probably because of Asia. And then, I'm from the banking sector, and the banking sector is also a conservative industry. So we have less women, and then that's we are really working on. Definitely, I think, but then I see more women in the financial industry. It's really changing the way we manage the industry. So I really like to see really the diversity, gender diversity, but also beyond the gender. I think one of the theme was that beyond the gender, so LGBTQ and then so on. So that would probably really enrich the discussions and going forward,
Yes.
I believe.
And I know you agree with that. Anything else you want to say, we need that in next year's forum?
I think in terms of breadth, we already cover a very wide range of areas. And as I said, the community as a whole is now becoming the key drivers of such an agenda. And there's a sense of empowerment that through the platform of Global Maritime Forum, we can translate thoughts into action. However, I do think that we have reached a very critical moment in time. While we're waiting for the latest decisions of IMO, the clock is ticking towards 2030, towards 2040. And I think it's time for action. Mm-hmm. So I am really looking forward to the acceleration of some of the alliances, such as Getting to Zero Coalition. We're going to have a Getting to Zero Coalition workshop in Shenzhen, so in just a month's time. Mm-hmm. So I'm really looking forward to that, and also accelerating the discussion in this part of the world.
And do you think the event you are having next month will help us get even more Chinese to join the forum?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
we know for sure that this year there were a lot of Chinese companies who have expressed a strong interest to participate in the Global Maritime Forum. However, it's difficult, inherently difficult, for a lot of representatives of Chinese companies mm-hmm. to travel overseas. Yeah. And so I think taking the conversation back into China will be very helpful. Yes.
Thank you. Any final comments on your experience here? Any calls to action for the wider maritime community? What would you want all those executives and people working in the industry who weren't able to join or can't join because it's a very small event relatively? What would you say? What should they do back home?
I think reach out to the people that are from the Global Maritime Forum. Get the reports that we get. It was something very interesting. Somebody in my group was saying, like, I don't have the time to read reports. Maybe we should make like podcasts or something that summarizes some of the results and the analysis that we have mm-hmm. so they can be shared.
I'll put that in my notes.
That's something that we can do, and people can reach out and see what's happening. I think it's fantastic when you go from one year to the other, and I went 1 year, skip 1 year, another one, the progress. And we do see results, and that's the beauty of this forum. So I think those podcasts or that storytelling about results on studies and analysis that are being done are really good for the industry.
Yes, new innovative fuels. That's what we are waiting. As a financier, we are ready to mobilize funding to help the industry, and I think the fuels are probably one of the most important things, which I learned from also, I feel convinced from this forum. It seemed that the engines are technically ready for new fuels, but then there's a kind of a fragmented effort, like green ammonia, e-methanol, or probably, we would use LNG for a while. So that's not really decided, probably because of the lack of, clear regulations. Mm-hmm. But then once the fuels are more or less clear, it seemed that the whole industry would start really with much kind of speed and traction. So and then also I feel that maritime industry has a really good global platform, like GMF, and then also IMO is here. So the people here, leaderships here, as you said, it's time to take actions.
Final words?
I think it's important for Global Maritime Forum to continue to be disruptive.
Disruptive, yeah.
Because we're at a moment in time where it requires disruptive thinking to think outside the box, to come up with innovative solutions to tackling things that basically is outside of our comfort zone. So I think the fact that Global Maritime Forum is set up to put each and every one of us to tackle uncomfortable, challenging questions with peers, friends, many of whom we don't know, is good. But as we build this alliance, as we build this community, it's also very easy for us to fall into comfort zone as we become too familiar. So it's important for Global Maritime Forum to continue to invite outsiders in a way, people who are not yet in the conversation, to help disrupt us as well.
We'll look forward to more disruption over the coming year and next year, and I hope to see all three of you in Antwerp next year. Thank you very much for joining our little conversation here, and have a great weekend when you get there. I think we've all earned it.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in, and please make a comment, mention whatever you want. If there are people we should talk to and invite for our next summit, we are very happy to hear from you, especially from Latin America and Africa and Asia. Thank you very much.